Now we flipped the script once again to do a follow-up on one of my most viewed documentaries ever. And that docu was titled, Is Blox Fruits Actually Trash? Within that video I listed maybe one key point and then did what I still do now, which is feature the opinions of other YouTubers to complement mine and see if the general public can come to a common stance. But this one will be different. Instead of one key point, I actually have a couple on how and why Blox Fruits is liked and disliked by the community. Today also marks the official release of my in-game Roblox clothing shop, 4-star. Make sure to check out the first link in the description to buy some new clothes to keep yourself in style in whatever game you're playing. These are all selling for pretty cheap, so get them while you can, because some of them won't be on there forever. So let's rewind the clock all the way to 2019. At that point, we had some household games in the community. We had Anime Battle Arena, also known as ABA, Heroes Online, 7 Deadly Sins Retribution, Dragon Ball Z Online Generations, Shinobi Story, Bleach Primera, Attack on Titan Revenge. All of these were rocking the game field back then, but if we look at most of these games now, they're nowhere to be found. Luckily, Anime Battle Arena has found a way to move with the clock instead of being left behind, and now has a pretty strong player base. For the other games, well, we'll leave them alone. But if you actually pay closer attention to the games I listed, one thing you notice is there actually isn't any One Piece games. And surely at the time there was One Piece games being made, but none was really a household name at the time. Just goes to show you how quickly the popularity between animes can change over time. Actually, since we're on that topic, let's quickly go over how the popularity scaled. When I first got into the community, the Roblox anime space was heavily dominated by Dragon Ball games. My personal favorite at the time, Dragon Ball Online. From what I've seen at the time, it looks like Dragon Ball Final Stand was the first of the Dragon Ball wave to really make its mark. But then eventually the wave of popularity would scale into Naruto games. Then as games progressed and as developers started getting more and more skilled, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure games would make a rise. A Bizarre Day would be a household name. Then obviously the past creations would lead into the most known JoJo game right now, which is Your Bizarre Adventure. And now as we get closer and closer to present day, we had a wave of Demon Slayer games. Obviously Demonfall being the one to really set the standard, then lead into Project Slayers. Then today we have One Piece games. Seems like every other week we have a new One Piece game, or we get news on a future One Piece project. And then obviously we have our Bleach games being sprinkled in around the market. But back to One Piece games. Seeing that only recently we've had a huge surge in One Piece games, you'd think that Blox Fruits would be no different. But if you actually turn back the clock, you'd see that Blox Fruits actually came out in 2019, entirely ahead of its time. So here we are, 2019, and at the time, Blox Fruits was actually called Blox Piece. You'd have to think, Blox Fruits at the time being one of the main One Piece games, basically being the color red added to an entire section of blues. I mean, how exactly would a new One Piece game at the time perform? It's already so many household names. How exactly could a game like Blox Fruits fit into the mix? And that is where we'll turn the tables. What made Blox Fruits special? So here we go. We have a new One Piece game where the stronger you are, the deeper into the venture you go. Fighting NPCs that get stronger as you progress, you have the all-seeing ability to create your perfect build, whether it be a speed demon or fruit master, or a human tank. The choice is all yours. And surely that choice could be one of the factors into what made progression a likable experience for players. Hopefully, you can make the right choices within making your build, and also make the right choice when it comes down to where you should get your gaming equipment. And luckily with our partners over at E1 Racing, that choice has never been easier. This video is sponsored by E1 Racing, one of the best gaming shirt shops in the industry, featuring a wide variety of colorways and styles, varying in prices and sizes, so that you have the choice of choosing your perfect match. And luckily, I caught you at the perfect time because over at E1 Racing, they actually have a back to school sale of 20% off across all gaming equipment. And if you thought it couldn't get any better, you can also use my code iiDahmer with any purchase to directly support me and help me with gradually increasing the quality of videos just like this one. And while quality has always been a goal of mine, it's also been a goal of Blox Fruits. If there's one thing Blox Fruits has proved throughout the years, is that they are in it for the long run. Each and every update making minor adjustments to quality factors in old models, while also adding major additions at the same time. And one of the more recent updates, Blox Fruits actually went back to most of the older fruits and revamped each and every one of them, giving even the less fortunate of the players something nice and appealing to look at, while doing a complete revamp, also implementing some of the more crazier models yet, like leopard fruit. And while everyone can't have the most luck with fruits, we must have been having the most luck with the subs because we just hit 21,000 subscribers after only in the last video announcing us hitting 20,000. I appreciate everyone who's been sticking around for the videos like this, and maybe any newcomers watching can subscribe as well. And although my viewers have been sticking around, How about the thing that's been making Blox Fruits players stick around the most? Could have been the adventure, or it could have been the developers always showing the love for the game through great and thorough quality additions. Or maybe it could be something much more simpler. Maybe simple is actually the perfect word. You see, if there's one thing I realized while playing Blox Fruits, is how perfect the dev team can balance simplicity and complexity. While the complexity could come through how to obtain certain items, the gameplay is also simple. Let me explain a little further. You hop into Blox Fruits, you grind NPCs, you fight a boss, upgrade stats, then move on to the next island. Simple progression that leads to simple PvP. Blox Fruits power scaling is set in stone. The person who's grinded longer can pretty much one-shot anyone lower in level. And with that adding in not much of a need for skill, it's how it can appeal to the majority of Roblox players. Not the group of Roblox players watching this video right now that are probably in a lower or older teenage range, which is what's causing such a disconnect. It's the same reason we're seeing so many simulators also pulling these insane amounts of players, but someone like me or you would never touch a simulator. It appeals to the younger audience, which also happens to be the majority of Roblox. In their minds, the longer I play, the more I grind, the more I do, the easier and easier it gets to one-shot any and everything in my way. And that's pretty much it. But the reason why Blox Fruits is such a hot topic is because when we compare a game as simple as Blox Fruits to a game like Grand Peace Online, we wonder how Blox Fruits pulls what it does while GPO is where they are. Even though the answer has always been there, Blox Fruits and GPO are appealing to two different audiences. One audience is younger, who wants to grind the game and absolutely destroy everything in its path, while the other audience is older, wants to grind the game but also wants to beat players in a more skillful manner. Using string-based combos and tactics, instead of just casting all of your moves at once and expecting it to obliterate.
I'm about to get knocked. All right, bro. All right. And that's fair? That's fair? What man? You just started stream. What you got going on, bro?
All right, so
I promise you, Blox Fruit, because you're nothing without this unbalanced ass combat system. You're nothing. You can't play a real game. You cannot play a real PvP game. So you turn your brain cells off and play this. And nigga on my videos be like, Sage, use Kentech. You the coming up with text for this game. Shut the fuck up, bitch. It's not balanced. As much as you try to make this sound skillful, it will never be skillful. I promise that. I promise that. Yeah, use your mom joke, you.
So if I had to put all the reasons why it seems like the general public doesn't play Blox Fruits, like Infernasu, Slikage, Sage 4, Nano Prodigy, and many more than that, it would come down to pretty much one answer. The game is too simple.